Welcome to the deep dive. Think about the sheer scale of governing today, especially somewhere like Africa, right?
Yeah.
So dynamic, so diverse.
Absolutely. And brimming with potential, but, facing some really significant hurdles, too,
Hmm.
in terms of resources, infrastructure.
Yeah, big challenges. And that kind of sets the stage for what we're looking at today. EON Reality launching this EON AI government excellence platform.
Mm,
It sounds ambitious using AI and XR, extended reality, aiming to really shift how public administration works across Africa.
it does. The promise is transformation, not just tweaks.
Exactly. So our mission here is to kind of, cut through the hype and understand what this platform actually is and how it's supposed to be different. We're basing this on their recent press release.
Right. So starting with the why. What are those core governance challenges in Africa that this thing is trying to solve?
Well, the release points to things we often hear about, resource constraints, definitely, capability gaps sometimes.
Yeah, getting different parts of government to work together smoothly. That's another big one. Coordination failure.
It's citizen engagement, right, making government more responsive.
So those are the problems. How do these new technologies, AI and XR, actually help tackle those specific issues?
That's the interesting part. I mean, AI, it can crunch huge amounts of data, find patterns, maybe lead to better policy insights than we could get otherwise.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Faster analysis, maybe uncovering non-obvious connections. And XR, well, virtual and augmented reality. Think about training.
Ah, okay. Like immersive training.
Exactly. You can create these really practical hands-on scenarios in VR or AR, scalable too, which is hard with traditional workshops.
Right, right. So it's not just like automating paperwork. It's trying to enhance core functions, capability building, policy implementation.
That seems to be the idea.
Yeah.
The platform is framed as this comprehensive tool for sustainable development, better services, linking capability assessment, AI for policy help, tracking implementation.
And the XR for training, citizen engagement, coordination. It sounds like it tries to cover a lot of ground.
It does. It's positioned as an integrated system.
Okay, let's get into the tech itself. What's under the hood? What are the key pieces EON Reality talks about?
They mention a few core components. One is the Vibe coding environment. That's apparently for building apps quickly, low-code style.
Okay, rapid development. What else?
Then EON XR, which we mentioned, that's the platform for the immersive VR training and simulations.
Got it.
Crucially, there's an AI advisory engine. This is meant to give, contextual advice based on AI analysis, tailored guidance.
Interesting. So AI providing specific recommendations.
That's the claim. And lastly, something called Career Compass, which is focused on professional development for the civil service, helping people map out their growth.
So these different bits, Vibe, EON XR, the AI advisor, Career Compass, they're meant to work together, yeah? How would that look in practice?
Well, let's take an example. Maybe improving public health outreach. You could use Vibe to quickly mock up an interface for health workers.
Okay.
Then use EON XR to train them on new protocols in a simulated environment. The AI engine might feed in best practices or flag potential issues based on demographic data.
And Career Compass tracks their skill development through that training.
Something like that, yeah. The idea is this continuous loop assess, train, implement, refine, all supported by the tech.
Now, this is maybe the crucial question. Governments get advice all the time, right? Big consultants like McKinsey, international groups like the World Bank, Tony Blair Institute. How is this EON AI platform meant to be different?
Yeah, the press release spends quite a bit of time drawing contrasts. It's clearly a key selling point for them.
So what are the main differences they highlight?
Okay, well, take expertise. Traditional models often mean flying in a few, very expensive experts.
Right. Limited access, high cost.
This platform aims to sort of democratize that, embedding expertise into the AI so potentially many more officials can access guidance 24/7.
Okay. Availability and reach. What about the engagement model? You mentioned consultants often work project by project.
Exactly. This is positioned as a continuous platform, not just a one-off project. Ongoing support, updates, evolving with the government's needs, more like a subscription service.
Which ties into cost, I guess.
Definitely. They frame the subscription model as more affordable and predictable compared to, the high premium fees of traditional advisory services.
Makes sense. Another issue people raise with consultants is knowledge transfer. When the experts leave, sometimes the knowledge leaves too.
Right. And here, the argument is that because the knowledge and processes are built into the platform, using AI and the tools, it builds lasting institutional capacity. The knowledge stays.
Okay, so it's embedded. That's a significant potential difference. What else stands out? Scalability.
Yes, digital platforms can scale much faster and potentially wider than human-led consulting teams. Think about training thousands via XR versus running workshops.
And implementation. Often consultants advise, but the government has to figure out how to actually do it.
Good point. This platform seems to bundle the advisory with integrated tools, the XR, the coding environment, to actually support the implementation directly.
So it's advice and tools.
That seems to be the pitch. They also mention things like better data analytics through real-time dashboards, built-in performance management, specific modules for citizen engagement, and even support for multiple African languages, which is often a gap.
Language support is huge, yeah. And things like data sovereignty and security are probably key concerns for governments, too.
They mention addressing that, claiming a robust framework where the government retains ownership of its data.
Okay, so quite a few differentiators they're putting forward compared to the status quo.
Yeah.
How do they plan to roll this out? Is it just switch it on?
No, they outline a phased approach. Starts with foundation assessment, setup, customization, then activation pilot projects, getting feedback, training early users,
Sensible.
then expansion, scaling it across more government departments, and finally, transformation, aiming for full adoption, fostering local innovation, even moving towards predictive governance.
So it's a journey, and presumably they need partners to make this work.
Absolutely. They emphasize partnerships with government leaders, civil service bodies, universities, local tech companies, international development partners, civil society, a whole ecosystem approach.
Right, can't just be dropped in from outside. Okay, let's talk impact. If this works as planned, what are the results they're actually forecasting? They give some numbers, right?
They do, and they're pretty ambitious. Within 3 years of full implementation, they're talking 40–60% faster policy development.
Wow, okay.
50–70% reduction in administrative processing times. Big efficiency gains.
And effectiveness.
Yeah, things like 40–60% higher project completion rates, 70–80% better cross-government coordination.
That coordination piece is critical. What about the people, the civil servants?
They aim to train over 1,000 officials annually using XR, claiming knowledge retention rates up around 90%.
That's impressive. It's achievable. And the impact on citizens?
They project a 50–70% increase in citizen satisfaction with services and maybe a 40–60% increase in public trust.
Big goals. And any broader economic impact mentioned?
Yes, they even suggest potential GDP growth contribution of 0.5 to 1.5%, plus significant savings in operational costs for the government.
Okay, so the vision is clear. Substantial improvements across efficiency, effectiveness, capacity, citizen impact, and even the economy. It's a bold claim.
Very bold. It really paints a picture of technology as a lever for fundamental change in public administration, not just incremental tweaks.
So wrapping up the core idea, it's about using this integrated AI and XR platform to build sustainable internal government accountability in a way that traditional project-based external advice perhaps doesn't.
Exactly. The focus seems to be on empowerment and long-term embedded change.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. We've talked about efficiency, training, coordination, but think bigger for a moment. If platforms like this take root, how might AI and XR reshape not just how governments operate, but the actual relationship between the state and its citizens in Africa?
Yeah, what new kinds of interaction, participation, or even co-creation might become possible when you have these kinds of tools embedded within public service? It's definitely something to ponder.
Food for thought. If you want to explore this further, EON Reality has a white paper on the platform, plus their own podcast, and the EON XR Spoken blog. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.